Time Treadmill is an award-winning website. How cool is that? Welcome to the Time Treadmill. I'm Ron, and these are my sweaty thoughts about Doctor Who. At the 2020 DNN Summit Conference, which is a conference for the software platform I use to run the Time Treadmill website, this website won a second annual DNN Website Awards under the category of self-promotion. I was completely shocked and very flattered. For anyone from the DNN community who's watching this, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. I know this is a completely ridiculous project, and it's just nice to know that my audience isn't entirely imaginary. So, thank you again. As for this week, you may or may not have noticed I've missed several days in a row, which is unusual for this project. Part of the reason is that on Tuesday and Wednesday I was away at the aforementioned DNN Summit Conference and had absolutely no time to get on the treadmill. Aha! I said Time Treadmill. While I was at the conference, I picked up some kind of standard con crud, and no, I'm virtually certain it was not the coronavirus. But that left me feeling Thursday just crappy all day, and I didn't think it was wise to get on the treadmill. Friday I was feeling mostly better, but under an abundance of caution I decided to give myself another day to rest before hitting the treadmill again. So here I am today, it's Saturday, and the timing is pretty much perfect. That means that today and tomorrow I'll be watching The 10th Planet, the original Cyberman story. And that makes for a very sweet synchronicity, given that the last episode I watched was last week's brand new episode of Doctor Who, The Ascension of the Spider-Man. And then Monday morning, having finished The 10th Planet, I'll be watching the season finale for the 13th Doctor, and thus bridging the original Cyberman story with the newest Cyberman story. So that's pretty dang cool. As for today's viewing, just a couple of interesting things about it. First of all, for me, this, although it's the last First Doctor story, really marks the beginning of the Second Doctor era. Yes, this is the second story of the season, but the first story was one that was written and produced for the previous season and really belongs in that production block. More importantly, though, this story begins what becomes the major defining theme of the Second Doctor era, and that is a base under siege story. This story takes place almost entirely at an International Space Control base located in Antarctica. And the story takes place in the far distant future of 1986. Hey, that's the year I graduated high school. I wonder if I can find my high school graduation picture. If I can find a really embarrassing picture of me from 1986, I'm gonna put it right here. Looking good, buddy. So anyway, here we are in the distant future of 1986, Antarctica. The TARDIS arrives at a military base, which is running ground control for an orbiting space capsule containing 2 astronauts. Unfortunately, there's some sort of power drain affecting the orbit of the capsule, and it's rapidly decaying, almost certainly leading to the deaths of the 2 astronauts. Of course, the TARDIS arrives with the Doctor and Ben and Polly, and shortly thereafter, at the very end of the first episode, arrives the first appearance of the Cybermen. And I have to say, I love the design of the Cybermen in this story. Up until very recently, this particular design only happened in this one story. It was picked up and repeated in the penultimate 12th Doctor story, and it's just a fantastic look. These Cybermen don't look like robots, and to me, they're so much creepier for that. I mean, look at this design. It is fantastic. And even better, the speech patterns of these Cybermen have never been used again, and I love this design. It's sort of this halting then rapid stuttering speech pattern that almost sounds like the vibrations of a disk drive have been used to simulate human speech. It is just a fantastic design, and I wish they would bring it back. I love it so much more than any of the other Cybermen voices used in any other story. But anyway, another tiny bit of trivia for the first 2 episodes of the story. If you look at this astronaut design, you may notice that the breastplate looks kind of familiar. It's because those same costumes were taken out of storage and modified a dozen years later and used as the primary costume for the bounty hunter Bosk in The Empire Strikes Back. How cool is that? Anyway, I've got more to talk about for this story, but I'm going to leave it for tomorrow morning with the second half of The 10th Planet. I will see you then.